Hello and welcome to the Trisbrina Show.
Tonight we're discussing how does Source speak to you? As spiritual seekers,
particular.
we long for that deeper spiritual connection with Source, love, light, God. And we want to fully unlock that highest potential and awaken our spiritual gifts. But how do we hear the whispers of Source? And how do we turn up the volume?
In tonight's Trisbrina Show, we'll dive into how does the divine reach us through unexpected encounters, through subtle signs, through
Synchronicities.
just bumping into someone who you're supposed to meet, but you don't really know it at first. In these moments, do we just call them coincidences? Are they just serendipitous moments? What is going on? Or are they Source guiding us, finding a way into our lives, and connecting us to the answers that have been right in front of us all along? We just haven't been able to see them until we've unlocked them.
And that's what you have to look forward to in tonight's show.
Absolutely. All right, well, let's dive right into this thing. What do you guys think these magical, amazing, serendipitous moments are all about? Is it the divine? Is it Source?
What else is it?
What else is it? Or is it just, I don't know, a coincidence? Like some people say, what a weird coincidence. And I'm like, really? Do you really think it's a coincidence? You don't think that somehow the quantum field entangled us together in this particular moment that we'd have this experience together?
Absolutely.
I know it sounds a little out there, but hey.
So the question was, how is Source speaking to you?
Yeah, how does it show up
How does it show up?
for you?
Well,
And do share in the chat.
first I'd have to say that it shows up exactly with my expectation of how it shows up and with what my vision and all my senses have to perceive of it showing up. So because being a spiritual person and teacher and leader, and my whole life is just totally devoted to expansion into myself and God and co-creating, I'm looking, I'm listening, I'm noticing, I'm giggling, I'm planning, I'm expecting. And because of all those things, I have a slew of mystical, magical, spiritual, unexplainable coincidences and synchronicities that happen consistently.
Like all the time.
Like all the time. The only time they don't happen, and actually they do happen, but I might not notice them if I'm caught up in my old stories and I'm caught up in my old beliefs and I'm caught up in my busyness and I'm caught up in my victimhood and I'm caught up, and I'm not present. But for me, with what my life is devoted to, I'm going to just talk about the word faith. Why is faith such a beautiful word to almost everyone and across religions? To me, faith is this conviction and this expectation that it is, so it is. And when you have those glasses, if these were my faith glasses and my so it is glasses, I would just be looking around the world and listening around the world. Like, oh, it's coming. Is that, oh, look, there it is. I'm expecting it. There is this expectation that isn't like demanding at all. It isn't like a child who wrote a Christmas list and said, I want the pink pony rocking chair and I expect it. It's not like that at all. It's like this beautiful, I love pink pony rocking chairs and what is coming, and it's delighted to receive it. And you feel the delight in whatever it is that is bringing it and giving it and rejoicing in it.
How does Source speak to you is the question that we open the show up tonight based on. So as you're joining us live or on the replay, just ponder it. It's a beautiful question to ask yourself. And then start identifying, how did Source show up for you today? In what way did it whisper, tickle, or jump in front of you and say, hey, pay attention, right? So I think it's an art as well to be able to notice, right? To be playful, like you're saying, to commingle with that Source energy and be in a relationship with it, because I think you have to invite it to tickle you and play with you and show itself. I'm constantly asking it to.
And it's up to each of us to underline as we move through the moments of our day what was a gift and when were we seen. We live in a 2-story house, and our bedroom is on the second floor because my parents are on the first floor. So I spend quite a few times going up and down. And as you do when you're busy, you know, your hem of your pants can get stuck in your heel. There can be a trip. And whenever, it's like so many times I almost maybe trip or stumble, but I don't, and I catch myself. Every single time I do, I pause. And I'm like, oh my gosh, thank you. This is so much better than a face plant. Just that little bit like, hey, slow down. Like I'm expecting the answers. I'm expecting the mystical. So I think that's what I would underline as number one is faith and expectation. But I can go on. Go ahead.
Well, I had just started talking a little bit, but it seemed like you have a lot you want to share. Okay. So I'm totally cool just being quiet and allowing for your flow to come through. I do want to honor and acknowledge some folks who are sharing in with us right now. David said, yes, be open to it and open to receive the good that comes. I think that's where I was going with my narrative was I have to invite it. I've got to be present to notice. So you talk a lot about noticing. If I'm not present,
it's awareness.
And some might say it's a bandwidth thing. Like if you're narrow tunnel visioned in and you're just looking at the micro moments, you don't see the mystical because you're not open enough to see it. No judgment. It's just we're not open enough. It's there.
Busy.
And I use the term the veil. So the veil to me is sort of this filter that's created with thinking. And when I'm in my head too much and I'm thinking, I kind of create this filter or this veil that separates me from the mystical.
Totally.
So I use tools like meditation, and you do too, and I'm sure you guys have your tools. Being in nature, going for a stroll, clearing your mind, some breath work, whatever you can do to bring yourself into the present so that you're more aware of all the information that's going on. Well, I don't know that we could ever be aware of all the information. There's so much data available, but I find that more we open the bandwidth, the more we see the mystical.
Yeah.
And you and I have the same take on this. We think that everything is spiritual. We see everything as an expansion or extension of source energy.
Yeah, when I'm present.
When we're present. So everything.
Well, it is, but I'm aware of it when I'm present to it, when I'm grateful for it, when I'm in appreciation of it and acknowledging it.
And in our interplay with life, everything has become mystical, right? It's all fresh and new. And I wanted to read what Einstein said about the mystical.
Were you talking to him today?
I was on the phone with Einstein, and he said, the most beautiful and profound emotion we can experience, and I love this, is the sensation of the mystical. It's the source of all true science. I'm going to read it one more time. The most beautiful and profound emotion, remember emotion is energy flowing through us, that we can experience is the sensation. It's a feeling.
It's a feeling. It's an experience.
It's a feeling. He says the sensation of the mystical. So let's get into that for a moment.
Yeah.
This is yummy. Ooh, this is magical, mystical.
This is something
sensational.
I maybe can't explain. I had two really funny visuals come to me today when we were talking about this noticing the mystical. And I think in the past, what has kept me and a lot of our students and clients is I feel like sometimes, people talk to source, talk to God, pray, affirm, visualize, and they like say the prayer, and then they immediately put their fingers in their ears. And that's not being present. So how are you going to hear that reciprocation when your fingers are in your ears? And then you're like, nothing happened. I don't feel anything. I don't hear anything. I don't see anything. Because we put our fingers in our ears in with our looping thoughts and our old stories and our limited beliefs and our ways. Or we don't stop talking, right? It's like, hey, like
The timing of that was kind of cute.
So it'd be like if you said to someone, "Hey, how are you doing today?" "Oh, I'm doing really good." And you never shut up,
You never hear the
right?
response.
You've got to know how to energetically get quiet and invite the space and the frequency for the answers. And they're not answers, they're just like isness. And for the genius thoughts, it's tuning to the frequency of where the answer, just like the problem and the solution are not in the same frequency, the asking and the answer are also not in the same frequency. So if you don't get out of the asking comes from I don't have, I don't have, I don't have. So if let's say in a prayer we're asking for some kind of guidance, well then we have to move into a receptive state where we can receive that. And that's what we teach all the time with Qigong and energy work is how do we get into the receptive state? Because the asking state can be like, this is just not fast enough. Like, I don't get this. A lot of you have faith, and I've had faith for a long time, but things haven't happened. It's because you didn't move into the receptive state where the receiving happens.
I was doing a class today with 3 people in person, and the girl that was there, after we were done doing Qigong, I took them through a short 30-minute routine, and she was sitting, and I had asked each one of them, how has things shifted for you? What do you feel? And she said, I realized that I should enjoy being more patient. I'm a doer, and pushing isn't the energy I want to be in. I should enjoy allowing things to unfold naturally, not forcing. And I think that was such a wise thing to tap into because the universe is really, God, divine, source, wanting to guide and give us information of like, hey, no, go that way, or hit the gas now, or hold off for a little bit. Like that information's available to us, but if we're not listening to it and we're just trucking along with the guidance that we have at this level right now, maybe that's going to take even longer. So patience might actually bring you what you want even sooner.
And that's such a good point. And I think there is a habit in so many people that needs to be shifted where we don't know where the receptive frequency is. Like if it was a radio station, we don't know that station as a favorite. We don't know how to slide into it. There's not a subconscious, oh, let me go to the listening phase. We've kind of been stuck on the asking, thinking, probing, forcing, complaining, old story channel. And we've got to learn to shift.
Do you think that's because it seems too passive? Like I need to be more active to make it happen? And that feels a little bit too muted, passive in our culture?
Or perhaps the person hasn't had an experience of how huge the receptive mode is. The receptive mode is way more powerful than the other mode and is so huge and so big and so vast and so appreciative and so wise. It isn't passive. I'd put the asking as the passive.
But in our brain and our program, it could feel like I'm not doing enough.
Absolutely.
Right? Mm-hmm. So that's an interesting thing to ponder for a moment. Like, what if less is more? Let's ponder. Less is more, right? Forcing. I did a lot of hardcore forcing in my days of athleticism, and you could push that ball up the hill a certain amount, but at a certain point, you wear yourself out.
So when we say less is more, we really have to define less what?
Okay.
Less force, less push, less looping, less old beliefs, less.
Less fear.
Because we want more.
Less fear.
Vulnerability, openness,
Less overcompensation.
curiosity. So we do want more.
More flow.
More flow, more connection, more gratitude, more appreciation,
More
more
trust.
unity, more knowing.
And there's a trust that guidance is there, and that you don't have to do it all alone. I love my relationship with Source now. It's the first time in my journey, being in my 50s, I think is when it started, that I started trusting, because of evidence, that I'm really very supportive, right?
What do you mean supportive?
Supported.
Supported.
So things started happening
Yeah.
much faster, with much less effort, and in ways that I could have never done on my own. You guys tracking,
Yeah.
right? You've seen these things. Like, we have someone helping us with our business right now, and I was listening to them speak today, and I've known them for years, and I've always thought they're genius. But I was listening to their heart as they were speaking and coaching today, and I thought, this is the most aligned person that I've ever worked with, that is so brilliant and so in alignment with our energy and our heart. And I thought, how did we get so lucky? And I know how we got so lucky, from asking and then listening.
Yeah.
You talked about being receptive, for not pushing and worrying about how's it going to happen and how are you going to get to the next level and how do you get to. I was just like, I trust that the divine can work that out, and vibration matches vibration. And
Yeah.
that's what I saw. I was like, we're so connected. He's so different than the way I am, in the most perfect way. So that's from getting out of the way. Less is more. I didn't push it. I didn't force it. In fact, I put this out to the universe in the physical realm. I was in a mastermind. You were there. And I asked...
Really?
You were there, because
I
you're
recall.
everywhere. I asked the room, hey...
Masterminds where, like, a group of people, we all have businesses, and we get together and say, this is working for me, this isn't, this is what I need, and we all help
And
each
you
other.
asked me, what's something mystical that's happened lately? And this wasn't that long ago. Mystical. There's... What we're defining as mystical for us is like every day. There's something amazing happens.
Something unexplainable, magical, curious.
And it's important to acknowledge it, because that reinforces the fact that you're a pretty mystical person and that that's normal for you. So I'm going to go back to this group that we were in, this mastermind business meeting, and I'll speak from first person, although everything I do is with Sabrina. That's why we call it Trisbrina. It's a oneness between
now.
us. Hey, what are you talking about? You ain't going anywhere. She loves to poke fun. You watch it. You're going to get in trouble. Anyway, so I put it out there that, and here's, maybe this will help you. You know how when you are a doer, or you're really good at what you do, you like to do it all yourself. Are you one of those? I'm one of those. She's one of those. We like to do it ourselves.
It's faster, and other people won't do it as well.
Right. All of our
You
projections
guys
as well.
know that old story.
Yeah. And the controller part of you, and
Especially if you're finicky and you like it done just a certain way.
And you kind of want to prove to yourself that you could do it all yourself.
Who
right?
in the chat feels this way?
Exactly. If you feel that way. I've been there before with my back injury, and I had to get passive and ask for support and ask for the divine to help guide me out of it, because I couldn't do it on my own. So I'm in the room with Sabrina and the people, and the part of me that says, I don't want to ask for help because I should be able to figure it all out on my own, had to surrender. And I said, I feel like I've gone as far as I can in this particular role, and I'm open for mentoring and coaching. If there's anyone here that knows of anyone that could help guide me, point me in a direction, what am I doing? I'm asking the universe. I wasn't asking the people in the room. I was literally opening the door for the universe to support me, and it just happened to be the right environment to implement that energy.
Yep. Because we were
Right?
saying we want to be more available to the students. We want to create and teach and coach and not get so busy with the business. Is there, something we can do?
Anyway, just to wrap up this analogy story, I put it out there, and 3 people in the room responded with a little like, hey, yeah, let's go out for lunch. The second one said the same thing. Let's go out for lunch. We went together for the second one. I went to the Austin, yeah.
Okay, that was the second.
And then I went to one with this
What
guy.
did you do, Richard?
Yep.
Okay.
And then the third person,
She's
she's trying to remember the names of the people. The third person, it was very relaxed, and we actually were giving them a ride home from the meeting and said, hey, if you ever want to do that, let me know. Actually, no, that's not true. That happened later. He didn't say anything. Now I remember, he actually didn't say anything. The first two said something, so there were only two. I had to remember that. And then, like 3 months later, he said on a ride home from another one of the meetings, hey guys, how is that going? This is even better because the first two, this is great. I'm unpacking the mystical. You getting it? No, for me, this was incredibly mystical. And where it lands is so gorgeous. So I'll land the plane. The first two people gave us great insight, and we're very grateful. And they showed us things that we needed to see, that we couldn't see, because when you're too close to something, you can't see it. It's called forest for the trees. You can't see it.
It felt like a lot of work.
And it felt like a lot of work. Then when we revisited with this person on the drive home and they said, how's it going? Their generosity of spirit was amazing. They said, I'd love to give you a half of a day coaching, and let's look at the business and see how things are going and how I could support you. It wasn't like pitching us or anything like that, just an offering, a friendship. And so we had that, and they laid things out and showed us what we were doing that's really working really, really well. This is all about you guys. It's about supporting the community.
And so what you're saying is, with this experience, there was a trust and a faith.
And there was time.
For where it is right now, that feels really good. That it's okay that it's like, what if somebody, a waiter comes and goes, would you like the woo-doo-doo? And you're like, it's all right. And then would you like the ooh-la-la? It's okay. And then somebody goes, would you like the whamma-whamma-bama? And you're like, yeah. So
that's great. Thank you.
There is an abundance. And there is a playful patience. But we learn things.
And there's discernment.
And we're still learning.
There's discernment. We call it feedback and feel back. So the first two people, they gave us great feedback, and the feel back was thank you, and nothing more than that. We'll now implement some of that on our own. It was the third one where the feedback was spectacular, and the feeling was like I was leaning in now and saying, hey, is there any way you'd be open to supporting and helping us serve more people?
And everything is just in this constant state of unfolding and mystery. There is not a finale, and that's one of the things I love about what you're saying is it's not like, aha. It's like, ooh, aha, aho, ooh. Do you remember that I Love Lucy show where she worked in the chocolate factory and the conveyor belt was all the chocolates?
She was trying to keep up with
and
them.
she tried to eat them all. I mean, when you get in sync, it's like that. It's like you can't eat all the mystical experiences and all the chocolate because there's so many.
I just love how it unfolded. I didn't know I was going to share this story tonight, but it actually came full circle today while I was watching a video of the person who ended up supporting us in the way that we're getting the coaching and the mentoring and the love. And so I love how the universe orchestrated that because I put it out to the universe. We put it out to the universe, and the universe has to move things around.
Yeah. Oh.
And that takes a minute because the universe is listening to you and the energy you're putting out. And the first two people helped us organize our energy in a way that kind of opened a door for this other person to come in and say, oh, yeah, it seems that you're ready now. I'm talking in the words of the universe going, oh, it seems you guys are ready to rendezvous with this person now.
Know what you don't want, know what you want.
There was discernment.
Okay.
There was discernment. And there was patience. And there was trust.
Yeah.
And then that marriage happened. And then here we are, and that's about all I can say right now. But I tell you what, it's pretty magical.
So the other morning, maybe yesterday,
Life is
I
fast.
took out. We have these really fun like calendar cards. It's like a deck of positive affirmations, let's say. And I threw them down on the bed, and I said, Tristan, here's what I see happening with the universe, like. Based on our thoughts and feeling and our frequency, the universe like, oh, let me move this card over there and this one over there and this one over there, and I'm going to change some things around so that the flow and the path is easier. So I have a story.
Take it away, babe.
And it's just a fun story.
I love your stories. Let's
So-
all pull up a chair.
This is
Enjoy the
just
story.
a really fun story. So it's about him.
Okay.
Okay. So we have a puppy, and he turned 1 year old this week, and his name is Kingsley. And how he came into our lives, to me, is very divine and very mystical and very blessed.
Yeah.
And I'm going to give you the shortest version I can, but in July of 2023, we lost both of our puppies in physical form on July 1st and July 16th, Winston and Bentley, 14 and 16. And just really devastating for us. And also, we live in a house with my parents. My mom just turned 84, and my dad is 86. And he's working on his memory. He's got some memory challenges. And my older brother is also here. So there was a lot of us missing this camaraderie that had been in our family for so long. And so there's a lot we need to grieve, and we need to heal. And you can't replace something that you love with something else. And so we actually experienced how the heart just has to get even bigger, because you're never letting go of anything that you've loved, but can you make room for even more? So I was Facebook friends with a woman, and we are very big fans of King Charles Cavaliers, those two dogs that we had. And I have some type of connection to that breed. I remember the first time I saw a King Charles Cavalier, I was an adult. It was probably 25 years ago. And the first time I saw one, her name was Maggie. I was like, what is that magical creature? I had never seen a dog. I was not a dog person. I'm just like, that's the most magical thing. And I want to take care of one, and I want one to sleep in my bed. I just love them so much. And so we got one a year before we got married, and he was our ring bearer. Anyway, cut to the chase. We're all healing and grieving. And I'm Facebook friends with a woman who has King Charles Cavaliers that have babies. And I reached out to her, and she said, and I said, so it's kind of hard for some people in our family. They can't remember that the dogs have passed or how they've passed. And it might be good to bring another dog into the home. I'm not sure if I need that yet, but I think for the whole, it would be really good. And she said, well, I'm glad you called me. There's 1.5 to a 2-year wait list right now. I was like, 2 years? 2 years is a really long time. Okay, put me on that list. And then I would just kind of stay in contact with her. She had 4 dogs that were pregnant, and the first dog's name was Molly. And then when I looked back at Facebook posts when this dog Molly that was pregnant was born at 10 weeks old, she had posted it on Facebook, and I had commented in it, this puppy looks more like my Winston than any puppy I've ever seen. And we tried to figure out if it was from the same line. And it was. So she posted pictures. This Molly had 5 puppies, and she posted pictures of their back. And I saw it on Facebook, and I scanned down, and the very last picture, and she named all the puppies like Sky, Midnight, and the very last one's name was Ghost. And when I saw it, I remember I saw it, and I went, and I thought, oh, that was really curious. I just lost my breath.
How does Source speak to you?
How does Source speak to you? Like, that was odd. And I remember thinking, that was odd. And then I had said when we lost Bentley and Winston, if reincarnation is a dog thing and you want to like do it again, like, I'm game. Come on, I love you. Come on back. You're welcome here as spirit, but you're also welcome here as a physical dog. Come on back. And so, like 3 weeks later, I woke up in the middle of the night and I said, "Ghost? Is that a freaking hint or what? That dog's mine. That's like a hint." And I was like so
How does God
animated in the middle of the night, and I'm like, "That's my dog." It's not been 2 years. It's only been 2 months. And so that morning I got up, I got my phone, and I texted the lady, and I was like, "I know this is selfish, but I think that dog Ghost is mine. Delete."
She deleted the text.
I deleted it, and then I was like, if nobody wants Ghost, I'll take him. No. Can we talk later? No. And I took my phone and I set it down. I put it on Do Not Disturb.
So she didn't text her at all.
I didn't text her, and I said, "I only want what's best for all. And if this puppy is meant to come to our house, I have an open heart and open arms. And I am a powerful manifester, and I don't have to push or shove, and I let it go.
That's asking.
I give it to God."
That's the ask.
I didn't kind of do that. I freaking did that. I give it to God. I'm done. I'm not going to obsess over it anymore.
That piece is also really important.
Let it go.
Ask and let go.
And I turned my phone off, and
Trust.
it was a Wednesday. And on Wednesdays, I teach a couple classes, and I taught our Satori sculpt class, and class was over. I turned off the computer, and I turned on my phone, and it went ding, ding, you have a text. And it was from the breeder, and she said, "Are you really ready for a puppy? I've never done this before, but God told me this morning that you don't belong on a wait list, and you can have your pick of the litter."
What? That's a little mystical moment right there.
What? And I wrote back,
Big mystical moment.
"Ghost." And she wrote back, "I knew it." So she knew it too. And that was really fun. And
So beautiful.
I so love that. And so we got Ghost, and we named him Kingsley, and he's right here.
I think he'll
and
make
he
a
just
debut
turned
in a moment.
1. But that to me, like everything is mystical. How beautiful that I chose to not push. And how amazing for this woman to say, "I don't know why. God told my heart today that you don't belong on a wait list. Which puppy do you want?" And when we went to meet him, she said the same thing. She just said, I've never done that. I just felt that. And you know what? It would be totally okay if it didn't pan out. I'm just using this as a story.
I wanted to speak to that because we can't use what's being shared to try to manipulate a situation. The
Right.
agenda has to be clean.
Yeah.
The love has to just be the love. Whatever's best, whatever
Yeah.
you see is right for this situation. You can have the
Yes.
desire, and the desire is essential. The desire is the energy that you're emitting, but that open trust in the mystical that will provide it in the right way, in the right time, that's perfect for you, that's essential.
Yeah. And I have practiced so much for decades. I know the frequency of the mystical. I know the frequency of God to the depth that I know it, and where I communicate with Source. And so I really did whatever is best. I was good. I was golden. It'd be fine. I was never expecting a text, and I was never going to ask her. I was going to celebrate all the homes that those little puppies went to.
Unconditional.
I was done.
Unconditional love.
Yeah.
That is the greatest power in the universe. And to dance with it and to play with it, it's kind of magical and mysterious, aka mystical. And that's what makes it so much fun. When you are now playing rather than forcing and pushing to get, there's no lack consciousness, it's pure love consciousness. It's the sweetest ride.
And
we get that you get it.
yeah, of course. And you can't just wait for the moment and then be like, "Oh, I'm going to tune in." You've got to be consistent. You have to consistently take your energy there. You have to know how to be in the receptive mode. You have to practice hearing. You have to practice seeing. We have to practice noticing. And then the miracles and the magical and the mystical are just normal and so beautiful.
I think I'm going to go get our friend who's quite mystical. Maybe your new name should be Mystic. You want to be the Mystic? Come on, little cutie.
Big
Kingsley, the mystical puppy. Look at that hair.
Hi, baby.
You've been on the show twice lately.
I'm gonna get your
You're gonna do a
rock star hair.
It's a drive-by, a Kingsley drive-by.
Here he goes.
Well, thank you for being here tonight and chiming in with your beautiful comments. Thank you for being in our lives. The community, we're a bunch of mystical misfits. We fit really well right here. And we're so grateful that we get to have these casual conversations. We try to do this show every week on Thursdays. And we plan on continuing.
Those eyebrows are
Look
so
at that face.
cute. You know what's great is like when Kingsley does things that are less desirable than other things, I remember. And I remember, okay, there's absolutely, and I love this. I'm always like, there's a reason this particular little soul, this little being, this little fuzzy ball of cuteness is in our lives. And so I'm always looking at, what is he showing me? What is he teaching me?
Boy, he does some really, thank you, Donna Rios. She likes the outfits tonight. He's so interesting. He's got Bentley and Winston like so much in his personality and his behaviors. And sometimes I think, do we have a walk-in here? Because he'll do some of the exact same things that Winston did on the bed.
Maybe they're
where
teaching it.
He'll make little muffins with his feet, and he likes to have his head
Muffins.
pushed up like in between my hands in the morning and get his jaw massaged, and he kicks his feet back all the way back exactly like Winston would do. But then he acts all tough like Bentley and kicks the dirt and barks at big dogs. Winston would have never done that. So you're a very interesting blend.
You know, and an intuitive person said to me about before we got him, said, you were going to notice qualities of both of your other dogs coming through him. And this intuitive person said, because they're going to teach him how you felt love.
They're teaching.
And just so sweet.
All right, everyone. Well, why not on both? Can I give them to you so I can do the controls? All right, everyone. Here comes our royalty-free Trisbrina song. Gotta love it. 3, 2, 1, and there it is. Yay!
Look at the camera, Tristan.
Love you guys. Have a beautiful rest of your Thursday. We'll see some of you in the dojo over the weekend. Big love.